So, hey, we're on time. Tonight we're talking about devastating histories, and well, let's just say this is not the first time the Vikings have had this situation.
Skol Vikings, let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skol Vikings, let's roll.
So, just in case.
Another week of Viking football and more depressing news as season hasn't even really started yet, and already it's already doom and gloom.
Well, first it started with the death of somebody,
Yeah, you go with Kyrie, then you go
Blackman,
and now JJ.
Yeah, for those that don't know.
So it's now on Darnold, but this is don't know if JJ was going to play much this year. I figured he was going to play eventually, but now it's basically hey Purple Papa. It is we'll see what kind of coach KOC is, and see if he can get these guys if he can hold his team together and be competitive at least.
Well, I mean, I don't. For all his faults, he does keep the team competitive. So, I mean, look at last year. They had no business winning the games that they won last year.
Yeah, and they had no business losing the games they lost either, too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You got to find an even keel. He can't let up off the gas. He's got to coach with some urgency. He's too laid back. I mean, he's too nice. I mean, today,
Lord?
Hey, Lord Duncan. I heard today. I mean, he was the Browns amped up the intensity on the scrimmage.
Smack.
Yeah, that's probably the case where you need to amp it up too.
No, I do not see that, Lord.
It's
I work all the time, so I'm not on here as much as I used to be.
Right. I think I saw him. Yeah, there's just things you don't, as a head coach, you don't do that.
Stefanski trying to prove a point?
I think so. He's also got Jim Schwartz as his defensive coordinator, so Schwartz is kind of a jerk anyway. But yeah, I think that's
not as bad as Williams, but yeah,
not as bad as Williams. He maybe a couple of steps down, but yeah, Stefanski is proving a point. He really is. Like I said, though, you got to meet that intensity.
So yeah,
you can't.
So Teddy Bridgewater's probably the most devastating.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater's was life or death. He damn near lost his leg. That's how bad it was.
E.J. Henderson
was bad. AP literally tore the ligament off the bone when he got hurt. And that was what, 2011 when he got hurt?
2011, 2012, somewhere in there, yeah.
2011, and then 2012 he comes back and I think he's comeback player and MVP. Oh God, T-Back, Keith Millard. I remember when Millard got hurt. Millard was literally high load against Tampa Bay. They engaged him, and then one of the Tampa Bay players hit Millard right in the knee, and you just seen that knee just snap. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah. Sensor's injury was pretty.
Sensor's injury was pretty bad. Tommy Kramer talked about it today. His injury when he tore his knee in Tampa Bay. He ironically he wore number 9. It was a routine bootleg that Bud Grant was known to run, and the Vikings were controlling that game. That's the whole thing. Kramer was like 8 for 8 in passes, and he ran that bootleg. And next thing you know, Mike Washington grabbed him. I don't think it was a horse collar, but it might have been called a horse collar today. And when he grabbed him, there went that knee for Tommy Kramer, and that was the end of Kramer. So he was gone. That was only the 3rd game of the year. Fran Tarkington's broken leg. When he was literally scrambling from Gary Burley. Burley caught him and twisted his leg, and that was the end of Fran's year. That was 77, and that was they finished 9-5. They probably would have finished 11-3 or 10-4 that year. Scenes was bad too. Scenes was bad in London. We've had some really bad luck with injuries.
I don't think we've ever had a preseason like this though.
83 was bad. 83 was bad, and that was kind of their first year playing on artificial turf altogether, because 82 was a strike shortened year, but 83 they came into camp with injuries. Joe Sensor was hurt. A couple of the D linemen got hurt. One of your offensive guards got hurt. So it 83, just every week there was more injuries. Sensor, Kramer, Keith Nord, Mark Mulaney, Doug Martin, Matt Blair, Fred McNeil had injuries. It just got to the point where the only unit that started all year was the offensive line. Rick Danmeyer.
I would say Teddy Bridgewater was probably, because you can almost compare that to the Stringer tragedy. With how it affected the team.
Yeah. That was supposed to be their year too. And that kind of set in motion the quarterback carousel. When he got hurt, that set in motion the quarterback carousel. Yeah, Terry Allen tore up his knee twice. Might have been the other knee, but yeah, he had.
I was actually going to bring that up, T-Bass. I guess now is a good time since you put it in the chat. If JJ could have the quarterback equivalency of Chad Gwynray's career as a linebacker,
he'll be fine.
I think we'd all be happy with that.
He'll be fine. Yeah. I think he'll be okay anyway. There's something about you look at JJ just by the little sample size we got, and you watched him in college. He's just not that type to get flustered. He just isn't.
Yeah.
This is going to weigh on him psychologically, but he wasn't supposed to play much this year anyway. According to KOC, he wasn't going to see much playing time. So
I think they were planning on doing a what's it called? Patrick Mahomes type of season where he's not going to play until maybe the end of the season.
Yeah.
Either the Vikings are out of the playoffs and he's going to play the last game of the season, or the Vikings are in the playoffs so they're going to rest all their starters.
Right.
So,
yeah, T-Bass, you're thinking about Robert Edwards. He was at a MTV Touch football game. He was a rookie and he tore up his knee.
That ruined his career.
Yep, that ruined his career.
I don't think it's going to cost him his job. I think the will still be like, hey, man, your guy got hurt.
What will cost KOC his job is how this team rebounds.
Yeah.
That's going to be, he won 13 games his first year and only 7 his second year. if say he only wins 6 this year and then next year he only wins 4, or he's got to damn near get back to that 13-4 record for job security. I mean, they're even talking now that Kwesi's job isn't. They're not talking extension with him either.
Yeah, neither one of them.
And also with now, this is what brought up Florio and Sims talked about this. A lot of people are saying that this was a turf injury. Once again, the turf has come up. So the league's going to really have to look at this. And I think the players union, the players association is really going to have to hammer at the owners, because I don't know if the surfaces are getting better. It's just they.
Oh, I mean, it's better than what they used to play on.
Oh, it's definitely better. Yeah, better than that old school crap. But how much better? The injuries are still there.
The worst injury I ever saw was the Theismann injury,
and
that and the Krumrie injury.
And they were both on grass.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen that Krumrie injury, you just see a leg and it's just like doing this.
Oh, it just was just like when they say like swinging in the breeze, that was his leg.
Yeah.
It was bad. And like T-Bass says, Wendell Davis in Philadelphia. Philadelphia's turf was terrible back in the day. That turf was lethal. I mean,
I think all that turf was lethal.
Phillies was worse. I mean, I tore my Achilles at the Metrodome on that old school turf, and when you like the outdoor turf, which I never understood. Okay, you have an outdoor stadium. What the hell do you need artificial turf for? Are you really that lazy that you don't want to keep up the grounds? Really? I never understood that.
Well, Arizona's able to do it with the natural turf, so
yeah. Arizona wheels the grass in and puts it down. You could probably do that here if the Wilfs really wanted it to, but
I don't know why they don't. I mean, it's probably cost. I don't know. Like,
it's a cost thing.
Wouldn't they have to do like a whole new like stadium, like the underground of the stadium? Is that where they talked about putting it?
Yeah, they would have to. If they're going to put grass in there, you got to figure out a way to get it to grow, which U.S. Bank Stadium gets sunlight. So you'd probably have to get some sort of oxygen in there somehow. Then keep it green, but they'll get paint for that. But yeah, I mean, it's, and I think back to a lot of, I think Keith Millard's was on the turf at the Metrodome. Gerald Wilhite, when he was tackled by Joey Browner, that was on the turf at the Metrodome. That was pretty bad. That ended Wilhite's career.
Yeah.
Tommy Kramer's was on grass at the old Sombrero. What was that stadium called again? Was that Jack Murphy Stadium? No, Jack Murphy was San Diego.
Oh, what stadium? Where?
Tampa Bay. What was their?
Raymond James. I think that was it.
Raymond James. No. Is Raymond James? Was it Raymond James?
Well, they called it the Big Sombrero. It was called Tampa Stadium.
Tampa Stadium. Okay,
I think it was just called the Big Sombrero, Tampa Stadium.
Yep. But yeah, and then, like we said, Theismann's was on grass. Just our major injuries last year were both at Lambeau. Was one at Lambeau, two at Lambeau Field. Cam Akers and Kirk Cousins, and then the year before, Brian O'Neill was Lambeau Field. So I mean, it's, you think back. I mean, these guys get hurt anyway, and injuries are part of the game. I mean, you wonder how Jim Marshall played as many games as he did, but he had a lot of bumps and bruises. I saw a game here on YouTube. He played Atlanta in '77. He got carried off the field, and Shaq, and but he was back the next week. It was just a different breed of player, I guess. But to a man, none of them liked that artificial turf. They hated it. Even the old school players hated artificial turf when it was made. And now you've got this current crop of players that don't like this turf much better.
No. I got the hands of a lineman.
Yeah, once you're a lineman, playing receiver is like a fish out of water.
Yeah, my hands are actually, I don't know if you noticed, my hands are actually bothering me.
And if they do put you at some sort of a receiving spot, it's usually a blocking tight end because they know they'll never throw the ball to you. So, but T-Bass, I think Namath had bad knees in college.
Lord, I think that happened to a lot of us.
Well, here's a key question. When you got their autographs, were they sober? Especially Tommy.
Yeah.
Because they were real party animals back in the day. They both did the whole treatment thing and what have you. Shaq,
Yes, yeah.
Between the Super Bowl losses, players hurt or passing, and all the other heartbreak, it's
I know Tom Grossi is a Packers fan, but did you see his?
I was gonna watch it. I never watched it.
It is hilarious.
I'm gonna watch it.
It is hilarious.
He's funny. I like him.
Yeah.
He is funny, but I was gonna watch it. I saw he had a thing for the Vikings, and I was like, oh, I gotta see this, but I didn't get around to it.
He did like the season preview,
mm-hmm.
and he did like all the draft picks and all that. Then he did then he at the end he had a rest in peace Kyrie Jackson on it, and then he did like a tribute. Then he did like a JJ out for the season. He's like, why do you hate us so much?
He knows the pain. He does. He knows the pain. And he was not a Rodgers guy. I remember he got a lot of heat for not being a Rodgers guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does all the teams. He's actually very funny. You know what? I get excited for football. Whatever happens after that happens, but I keep my expectations for this Viking team low. Like this year, like Sarah said, this year I was upbeat. I did say 10-7.
I was going to play Madden this year.
Huh?
I said I was actually going to play Madden this year.
I was upbeat. I was, just the fact that we got rid of the cloud that was known as the other guy.
Yeah.
There was a breath of fresh air with this team. It was kind of like a new beginning. And then we get the quarterback, and then we get Dallas Turner. So I'm like, he what?
Looked really good.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't miss it, we did a live stream.
I was all in, and I said 10-7. But now I can temper that. I can see almost a repeat of last year, or maybe a couple of games.
Yeah.
A couple of losses more, but once again,
Bob, but that is a great topic.
Yeah, we did the Love Boat. That's one drunken story.
Well, that's a story all in about itself.
Oh, I talked about Keith Millard and his arms. I talked about that. All the other ones, there's so many, way too many. I'd have to literally ask some people around for some of their stories, but there's so many drunken Viking stories. It's not even funny. Way too many. That's a 2-part show right there.
Didn't Percy Harvin mess up his ankle? Who am I thinking of?
You think if Sidney Rice did?
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was devastating. No.
Sidney Rice is the one that had that injury, and then he didn't get he waited too late to get like a
Oh,
doctor's thing.
oh, what about what's his name? Oh gosh, Sharif Floyd.
Oh, and the doctors botched his surgery.
That was a devastating injury
That
too.
was devastating. Yes. The doctors just
And then Mike Zimmer made that dumbass comment
he's always making dumbass comments.
about him not being out there and all that.
Kind of hard to get out there when your doctor botches your surgery.
Yeah.
Basically the doctor ended his career.
Did we ever know what he got from his lawsuit?
Mm-mm. No. A friend of mine was good friends with Talance Sawyer, and the same thing happened to him. And
That's a name from the past.
yeah, they botched his surgery.
It just makes you remarkable, like Jim Marshall, Scott Studwell, how those guys never really, got amazing.
Yeah, they were built. Some players are built for it, some players aren't, and some players pay for it in the end. I mean, Jim is paying for it now,
Yeah.
which is why he doesn't go out in public too much. Scott, worked for the team for 20 years. He was in the scouting department, hasn't been the same since Studwell left. But yeah, played until he was 42 to be exact, and was still getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
They were just built differently. And also there wasn't a lot. I think back then there wasn't such a workout program where you worked out constantly. That could be another one too. The players are working out too much.
Yeah, that could be a thing about it too. But devastating injuries have always happened. I mean, look at T.J. Hawkinson's last year.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Foreman had a bunch of. I wouldn't say they were devastating, but he had a bunch of injuries. I'm surprised Sammy White didn't have one when he got his head torn off.
Yeah, you know what? For him to be still kind of all there, it's like, wow. Because he took a vicious shot in the Super Bowl.
Other than Caleb Evans, I'm not sure there is.
Caleb Evans, oh, yes, there was. Back in the day, it was Wally Hilgenberg. Wally Hilgenberg used to get concussions all the time. But 9 times out of 10, the player would get a concussion, he'd go back in the game. So Bill Brown would have him, but Bill would still play. But yeah, later years, Caleb was the worst because they've put so much emphasis on it. But hey, Bob, Jim is he's still with us. 80. How old is Jim?
Like 81, I think. 81, 80.
Born in 37.
So 97, you'd been 60, then 70. Yeah, he's
80 something.
85, 86, yeah.
Yeah, he's still with us. Living a quiet life. Like I said, he doesn't get out much. The fact that they got him to do a video memorial to Bud Grant, talking about Bud. He's still there. Mentally, he's still there. So I guess you can say with the old guys, it's nice to see that Page is still there, Eller is still there, Marshall is still there, Fran is still there. You still got the guys that have the memories. Ed White has them. He still remembers a lot. So does Ron Yeary. So it's guys that are still with us. So, oh yeah, the snowball. Yeah, that cost Chuck the scoring championship and the rushing championship.
But I don't think the Vikings are going to be bad enough to have a top pick.
No,
Sam Darnold is not. I don't think Sam Darnold is going to be as bad as some people think he is. I think because of
I think he'll be slightly better than Nick Mullins.
the talent and stuff that he has is the best. He hasn't had this type of talent. I don't care what you say. They say, oh, great players are supposed to overcome. It's supposed to overcome the deficiencies of like the rest of the team. But if the team is horrible around you, the team is horrible.
Yeah.
For as great as Tom Brady was, he was never had a horrible team. So, like I said, this is the best team Darnold's been around. And I've always had the point that Darnold was going to be a one-year Viking, whether he played good or played bad. I think next year is definitely JJ. And what this one thing this does do though is that it does take the pressure off of the coaching staff, if you want to say that, about the questions of when's JJ going to play. They always said JJ's going to play when he's ready. Well, when's he going to be ready?
Hell,
Like
he looked ready Saturday.
right. That's going to eliminate all that.
Yeah, he looked ready Saturday.
Yeah. So that's going to be one less distraction, I guess, for the team. And I don't think JJ was going to start anyway, but it does. It does. They're not in the same situation they were when Bridgewater got hurt. Where they
they're not scrambling for a quarterback like
right.
they
did because they signed Darnold, so they're not scrambling for a quote unquote emergency. I think they're happy with the quarterback they have now. Well, the one thing this does do is give Jaron Hall pretty much guarantees him a spot on the team this year.
Well, you heard the latest rumor, right? I don't know how true it is, but they've talked to the Saints about Derek Carr.
Who, the Vikings?
That's what there's.
I don't know whether he's. I don't know.
I think it's true. And I personally, I don't want Derek Carr. I got to be honest with you.
I'd rather have Darnold. He's cheaper. That just tells you how good my boy Spencer Rattler's playing.
Yeah.
If the Saints are talking about trading Carr.
Yeah.
I don't think the Vikings are going to make a trade for a quarterback. I think if they do anything, it'll be at the defensive back position.
They need to get that defensive line shored up.
I don't think there's anybody out there though.
Sounds like they're going to move. LDR has been playing with the first string.
Yeah, T-Bass. Rattler is performing better than Carr almost every day.
He looked good in the game. I did watch the Arizona game. Rattler did look good.
Yeah.
He did. But yeah, I mean, it's this team, and it comes to injuries. I mean, we've had devastating ones. To the star players, it happened later, like with Tarkenton. I mean, Tarkenton was 77. Cap got knocked out of the Super Bowl. Bobby Bryant missed a couple of Super Bowls with injuries, but we never had an injury problem with the Purple People Eaters. Yeah, Levi looks really good.
Quick for his size, he's quick.
Yeah, he's they've already got him working with the ones. So if that doesn't,
I know T-Bass. You, I, and Steve, we all got all this crap about Rattler.
You only got it from one guy. Yeah, you only got it from one guy. So,
but McCarthy did look the best of all the rookie quarterbacks.
I wasn't impressed with Bo Nix.
Well,
but I don't know if I wasn't impressed with Bo Nix or if I wasn't impressed with those damn Denver uniforms because them things were ugly.
But they look better than with the old ones.
Yeah, but
It's
still,
not saying much.
no.
Arizona did the rebrand correct. They did the rebrand right.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. And we did have players wearing the kazoo hats, as I call them. Jonathan Taylor was wearing one. A couple of Steelers players on the line were wearing them. They look like the Great Gazoo, but
you know what they look like? Do you know like the baseball caps? They're really big baseball caps.
yeah,
That's what it looks like,
exactly,
but football size.
exactly. Yeah, T-Bass, Paul Krause never got hurt.
Yeah.
He never got hurt because he didn't have to do a lot of hitting. We
A lot
had,
of
I
people
mean,
think that.
yeah, I mean, the one person that got hurt the most on the Purple People Eaters was Gary Larson, and that
Which is
was
probably
just
why they got rid of him.
well, he retired. His body broke down,
Yeah.
and then Sutherland took his spot. But yeah, they never, and Lonnie Warwick, he got traded because he had bad knees. They used to tell stories in training camp. His knees were so bad that Jim Marshall used to tell the story. They literally had to help him up the stairs to get to his dorm room. That's how bad his knees were. Roy Winston was pretty healthy. Matt Blair, the year before Matt Blair retired, he was hurt. 84, he started out on IR. And then in 85, he messed up his knee in the home opener. And so he had some injuries, but it was much later. It was after his best years. Chronic injuries, though, oh geez. Clint Jones was one. He was always hurt. Clint was kind of like the Jalen Naylor of back then. The guy had all the potential, but he just kept getting hurt.
Well, Dwayne Wayne. Is it Wayne or Dwayne Wayne's?
Dwayne Washington?
No, the Waynes. I can't remember his name. Not from
Oh, Trey Waynes?
Trey Waynes always got hurt too.
He got hurt too because he hit.
Yeah.
He hit. So yeah, he was fragile. Oh,
Well, that
Xavier Rhodes.
yeah. That no, no. He just acted like he got hurt every time he got beat.
Xavier Rhodes. Every time he got burned, all of a sudden he got an injury. It's like
That just makes it like people like Joey Browner and Ronnie Lott, like with how hard they hit, how they never got injured. You know.
And Browner lost a damn in a game. Took off his finger. Still played.
Yeah.
Joey.
That Joe Montana injury was pretty bad. His elbow.
Oh God, yeah.
I guess it was the Giants.
Well, when he took that shot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he took that shot. Then one time Joe hurt his back. He scrambled to the left and threw off his body on the left side. Well, he tore a muscle in his back. And it took him a long time to heal from that. But
I mean, I don't know about. I mean, yeah, I know like there are been some. The Vikings have had injuries, but I mean, I think this year has been exceptional.
This early, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this early, yeah, this is the exception.
It's not just injuries too. That's the accident.
Yeah.
The Jordan Addison left the field today on a cart as well.
He said he's okay though.
Right, but still, I mean, how much more this would take,
Yeah. Hey, T-Bass Tinglehoff did get hurt, but he got hurt in preseason. I remember that because he spent time at Midway Hospital here in St. Paul, and it was for like a knee, I believe. And yeah, he did get hurt. He didn't play in preseason, but he didn't miss a game in regular season. Ron Yeary was another. Dalvin Cook was good when he wasn't hurt, and Dalvin. Now remember, Dalvin's knee injury his rookie year was a turf injury.
Was his his injury was almost the same as Chad Greenway's, right?
Yeah, it was a turf injury. He meant to make a cut.
But see, EJ's was on natural grass though.
EJ's was in Arizona, yeah. Yeah, EJ's was in Arizona. But yeah, it's that. Dalvin wasn't even touched by anybody, and sure enough, he what looked like his just knee kind of buckled in the turf, and you knew right then he was. He walked off, but you knew he was done. But yeah, that's. The owners want to go to 18 games and eventually 20 games, and they're going to have to figure out something with the damn turf. They're going to have to. Yep. Oh, another player whose career ended at the Metrodome, Billy Sims.
Is that where he got hurt at? Because I knew he got hurt.
He got hurt at the Metrodome. He got hurt on a tackle by Walker Lee Ashley. And when he went to jump over the player, Ashley tackled him. And when he came down, the knee buckled on that turf. And that was the end of his that was the last game he ever played.
As of right now, I don't know, are we gonna be on Friday?
Yeah, because we got a game Saturday.
Okay. So we'll be on Friday.
Yeah, we got a game Saturday.
Good night, Mom. I love you.
Good night, Mom.
Yeah.
You know what? That is true. There are certain soccer players because the turf is garbage.
A lot of soccer, like when the World Cup and stuff like that, has to be on grass.
That has to be grass.
No artificial.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got a soccer stadium here, and it's grass. Yeah, Robert Smith, his first injury was at the Silver Dome. And then his next injuries were all at the Metrodome. But yeah, his first few years in the league, I think he had knee injuries, both knees. Both knees were rebuilt. And I'll tell you what, he was scheduled to get a big payday before he retired. People were very shocked that he retired. Yeah, grass. I think it does. I'm not sure. Nobody's ever looked into it, and the NFL won't talk about it.
The initial cost, the upfront initial cost for artificial turf is way more. But you don't have to worry about replacing the turf halfway through the field. Because like Soldier Field, places like that, they resod the middle of the field like halfway through the season.
Yeah, because it's brown by October, by November.
So you don't have, like with artificial turf, not artificial turf, but the artificial grass, you don't have to worry about that because it stays that way. So, but I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what causes the injuries because people get like Blackman got hurt in practice. That's grass. You know?
No, I think they play on turf.
The practice fields are grass.
The ones out at TCO?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive.
I was told they were turf. Look it up real quick because I asked somebody about that and they said, yeah, they changed the turf at TCO too. I know indoors that's turf, but I think outdoors where they practice, they got like 4 fields.
Because I could have swore that I saw like sprinklers on the fields.
You probably did. I know one of the fields, I think where one of the stadium fields are where the high schools would play. I think that might be turf.
Okay, so the only synthetic is the indoor practice. So the practice fields themselves, they're all grass. There's 4 4 different types of grass. The indoor facility, of course, is artificial turf. But the the stadium where they play like that night practice,
Yeah,
they play, that is also synthetic.
that's turf.
Yes. So the field where all the stands are at, that's turf. Which to me doesn't make any sense. Why I understand the infield being turf, but why does that have to be turf?
They use that turf also. They let the high schools play on it.
Well, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, and they also charge the schools an arm and a leg.
It
They
would
charge an arm and
surprise
a
you.
leg. T-Bass pro wrestlers do get hurt, especially nowadays. With the high risk moves, they do get hurt.
Yeah.
It's
My brother-in-law has had so many back surgeries, knee
and
surgeries.
that's probably the big one.
Yeah, he just had a back fusion. He's actually in the hospital right now. I don't know if he got released or not, but he was in the hospital earlier today. For he had a back fusion. So.
You know what, T-Bass, you bring that up. Here's the deal. That old school turf, especially the one in Philadelphia, the one that was at Veteran Stadium, a lot of those players have passed away from cancer. And many of them are blaming that turf because they would spray a chemical on the carpet to keep it looking like it did. And what would happen is the sunlight would cause that the vapors from whatever the chemical was to get on the players. And some of them say that caused cancer because a lot of Phillies have passed away from cancer.
Yeah,
Back then.
baseball has definitely got away from.
They definitely got away from turf
Right.
as much as possible.
Like the only places I think have turf are Toronto and Tampa because they played a dome.
Tampa's indoors.
Right.
What about Milwaukee?
I think the stadiums. I think those are the only 2 artificial professional stadiums. I think everybody else is grass.
Everybody else is grass, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I may be wrong on Toronto, but I believe all of the other ones are grass.
I think they're still trying to move a team back to Montreal, aren't they?
Not anymore. Tampa got Tampa got a stadium.
I'm surprised Miami is still around, the Marlins.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cardinals on that stadium at Busch. Busch Stadium got a lot of service in St. Louis. All the Cardinal teams played there. So Miami does have grass. Yep.
Okay, so yeah.
Hey, Breezy, what's up?
So the Astros, the Blue Jays do play on turf.
Turf? Okay.
So those are the only 3.
Well, the NFL is going to have to figure out something with their turf because I think the turf is probably with a lot of the injuries.
Well, it's basically they're doing the beta testing on the field right now.
So basically, the players are the guinea pigs.
Yeah,
that's nice. Nice. Yeah, you're definitely expendable, guys. Remember that.
Don't remember. We're not saying that when you switch to grass, they're not going to get hurt. You'll still get hurt.
You're still going to get hurt.
And then I would like to see the numbers, though, as far as are there more injuries on turf or are there more injuries on grass? Because are there more grass fields than there are turf fields? So therefore, the numbers are going to be skewed or whatever.
And also, too, somebody should look into like the strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
That could be another one.
With their roof, the Vikings could do.
They could do natural grass. They could.
Yeah.
You wheel it in the day before the game, like Arizona does. Just truck it in from a greenhouse.
Well, there's another field. I can't remember who it is. It might be Houston Stadium. I'm not sure. they keep the grass under the stadium, and then they raise it for games.
Oh yeah.
And they can keep it watered and keep the artificial sunlight on the field the whole time.
Yep.
So the field thinks it's outside. The Vikings could easily do that. They already have the natural light coming in with the roof.
Yeah, and it gets sunlight. The way
Yeah.
the sun is, it gets plenty of sunlight.
You can open
Yeah,
the
Breezy,
doors.
what's your question, man? Yeah, I mean they could easily do grass.
Yeah.
Hell, you could have the doors open if need be. You know. But
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, I don't know if that's the answer or not. So I don't know if that's the answer or not. Switching to um, from artificial to field grass, there may not be any correlation at all. It just maybe that could be just what people are thinking. It could also be, um, you know, the training that goes on.
it could
fact
be.
that they
I think
train-
it's a lot of it is the strength and conditioning.
Then the fact that they train all year around.
It's too much. You never take any time off.
Yeah.
So, Breezy, that's a good question. I have no idea why we're so. There's nothing that.
Some people think it's the AFL curse.
Why is it the AFL curse?
Because we were supposed to go into the AFL by the last second they switched to the NFL.
Well, yeah,
You know,
we
something
sold our franchise to
yeah,
Oakland,
yeah.
the city of Oakland. It's
So-
either that or the fact that we never got the NFL championship trophy. What is it? The Ed Thorpe Trophy?
Yeah.
That they say that's another thing too, because we never got the trophy. It's still in the Packers trophy case.
There's also, I mean, it could be a lot of things. You know, the beating of the Bears the first game.
Yeah,
You know,
it's you got to.
but though, think about it though. It could just be Minnesota in general.
It could be.
Because we 91. If you include the links, if you disregard the links, which most people do, because most
Your
people
only
don't care.
sport is 91.
Yeah, most people only care about the Big Four. So 91 for the Twins is the last time Minnesota won anything.
Bob, that 69 trophy is supposed to be at the Vikings. The Packers had it for 3 straight years. It was a traveling trophy. They didn't even give it to the Colts in 68. Once the Super Bowl era started,
Yeah.
that trophy became secondary. But the Colts should have had it in 68. We should have got it in 69. So people forget. They have NFC trophies. Never saw it.
Yeah.
But they have NFC and AFC trophies. They back in the day they had an original look, each trophy. Now they're just as generic as can be. So, but yeah, it's but yeah, that trophy, that's part of it. There's the whole Bud Grant pissed off the league because he was always complaining about the refs, or he was complaining about the league in general and the rules. So there was that. It's yeah, and that Herschel trade didn't help either, Breezy.
It helped the Cowboys.
It helped the Cowboys, it didn't help us. And then, but see, here's the deal. Then the Cowboys screw it up by letting go of Jimmy Johnson. The Cowboys could have had a dynasty. The Cowboys could have been the Patriots of the 90s, but Jerry's ego wasn't going to let that happen.
Well, yeah, Jimmy Johnson. He wouldn't let Jimmy Johnson be Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, and plus the players loved Jimmy and didn't really care for Jerry.
Yeah.
That had a lot to do with it too. They liked Jerry because he was writing their checks, but other than that, and they hated Switzer.
Yeah.
They hated Switzer. So I mean, it's for the Viking. I mean, there's the whole, and plus the team hasn't been the same since they moved indoors and stuff like that. Yeah, one of those picks is Emmitt Smith. Yep.
Well,
Well, Bob, if that's the case, the whole Twin Cities is Indian burial grounds. And this was all indigenous land. So
I think Aikman was not one of the picks, but I think Irvin and Smith were, right?
no, Aikman was already picked.
Right.
What's his name?
Because Aikman was 89.
But I think he got they got Russell Maryland, they got Emmett, they got a bunch of players.
They went 1-15, 89.
They were 1-15, and they were a game away from the playoffs in 90.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the moving indoors did not help this team. They lost their identity, they lost their edge, and it was all for Max Winter wanted an indoor stadium, and he got one, and they built the Metrodome on it cheap. It was cheap. They got a Super Bowl, and after that, they was looking for another Super Bowl, and they were looking for another stadium, and they got it, and then they got a Super Bowl. They're not getting another Super Bowl up here, so they can forget it.
Hell, they can't even get the draft.
Yeah.
They're going to the goddamn Lambeau Field. Come on, give me a break. People are going to have to stay in. People are going to have to stay in freaking Appleton.
What do you mean for the
Pro Bowl, for the draft?
Yeah, there's a ton of hotels around the stadium now. Don't know how reasonable they are, but there's a ton of There's a ton of hotels around the stadium. Yeah, our luck with quarterbacks since Teddy. No, Dante, because Dante was.
Yeah, Dante got hurt too.
Dante got hurt too. Tavares, when he was here, he even got hurt.
Rest in peace, buddy.
Yeah, he got hurt. I'm trying to think what quarterback was here that didn't get hurt. Is it Ponder?
No, Ponder got hurt
because he missed the playoff game. Yeah.
Keenum. Case Keenum didn't get hurt.
Keenum didn't get hurt. Everybody else did.
And Josh Freeman didn't get hurt, although we wish he would.
Freeman didn't get hurt. He literally got run out of town.
McNabb didn't get hurt. He was just bad.
Everybody got.
I think Teddy would still be our quarterback. Zimmer would still be our head coach.
Yeah. Yeah, Zimmer would still be our head coach. Yeah, I mean, the luck with quarterback. Now, okay, if Darnold gets hurt, we're screwed.
Come on, Jared. We got Jared Mahomes Hall.
If Darnold gets hurt, we're screwed. Hell, I could play quarterback better than Hall.
You can go back to Mullins. Hey, the Vikings might get the first pick for the third time in their history.
Yeah, and if that's the case, that's not good for KLC. It's not good at all. Yeah, they'll be ready to run him out of here.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you have guys that get hurt all the time in all sports.
It's going to happen.
Well, look at the Twins, Royce Lewis. He's always hurt.
So Byron Buxton.
Yeah.
My God.
So it does happen, but are those devastating? I would say no. It's not like was it Doug Dravic? Or Doug?
Well, T-Baz, Joe Webb played. Yeah, Joe Webb never played. And Joe Webb was actually built differently. I don't know what, like we said before, it could be the conditioning, could be the strength and conditioning. It could be a lot of things. I mean, But to have the string of luck that we've had at quarterback, we haven't had a real
Well, we had a,
quarterback.
well, technically we did.
Who?
He just left.
He got hurt too.
But for the 5 out of the 6 years he was here, he never got hurt.
Yeah, and they jinxed him. Oh, he's been healthy, and sure enough, he friggin' tears a damn.
Jared Mahomes Hall got hurt. Remember?
Yeah, he got punch drunk.
Yeah.
Well, if worse comes to worse, they'll bring back Dobbs.
Mullins, they said they like Mullins. So
What is there to like about him?
I don't know. I'm just saying. He's been in the offense a couple of years.
Yeah, they both got hurt, Breezy. They both got hurt. Dobbs got hurt because of a stupid play call by KOC.
Yeah.
But I mean, even back in the day, we were lucky in 81 because Tommy Kramer got hurt in a preseason game. So he missed the first 2 games of the year. The only other quarterbacks we had were Steve Dills and a rookie Wade Wilson.
Yeah.
Steve Dills started the first 2 games. He threw a pick 6 in the Tampa Bay game. And then we played the Raiders on Monday night, and the Raiders tried to kill him.
Deadpool was our quarterback?
Who?
Deadpool?
What about Deadpool?
He was our quarterback?
Who, Dills?
No, Deadpool. He said Wade Wilson.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, Deadpool. Well, sorry, Deadpool's real name is Wade Wilson.
Yeah, he was a rookie.
Yeah.
No,
I think Wade Wilson should have been better, but he got injuries.
He got hurt too.
Yeah. Brad Johnson
got hurt.
Yeah.
Warren Moon got hurt. Randall Cunningham got benched because he just sucked.
Jeff George didn't get hurt.
Jeff George didn't get hurt. But I don't. You know what? I got to be honest.
Did McMahon get hurt the year he was here?
Yes. Yeah, because Sean Salisbury started some games.
Oh God, Sean Salisbury.
Yeah, and he started some games because Rich Gannon got hurt the year before. Gannon started some games because Wade Wilson got hurt. Wade Wilson started some games because Tommy Kramer got hurt. Tommy Kramer started some games because Fran Tarkington got hurt.
Hey, Spurgeon Wynn get hurt?
No, Spurgeon Wynn took over for Dante. Dante got hurt. Remember? Dante was on the cover of Madden and got hurt. He was part of the Madden curse.
Oh, T-Baz says McMahon never got hurt.
Yes, he did get hurt. Yes, he did. Yes, McMahon got hurt. He was fragile when we got him.
I'm sorry, but wearing that dark colored face mask with that sheet that he wore. That's cool as a quarterback.
From what I hear, he said the story. Don't ask me how he did it, but
he's always wearing sunglasses, so he definitely has something wrong with his eyes.
Because he stabbed himself in the eye as a kid, and his eyes are sensitive to light. So that's why he wears it. He wears them now. But yeah, that's why he wore the visor. But yeah, I mean, he got hurt, and then
Farad.
Yeah, Farad did get hurt.
Yeah,
that's why T-Jack came back. It's QB. QB since Tarkenton.
Fiedler didn't get hurt, did he?
Fiedler never played.
Kelly Holcomb got hurt. That's why McMahon started some games for us because Holcomb got hurt.
Oh, don't forget, Todd Bowman got hurt. Bowman got hurt, and that's why Spurgeon Wynn played. The most cursed position for the Vikings, it's got to be QB.
Well, kickers not because they got hurt, just because they're kickers.
Kickers were just they're inaccurate. No, but he manages to come up to Minnesota and party with Tommy Kramer. He still does that. He comes up every so often. So does Keith Millard. Eddie Mack. I think Eddie Mack still lives in Twin
God,
Cities.
if you think that, going back to the quarterbacks, that is pretty sad. You know that they really didn't. Like since Tarkington, the issues at quarterback.
We've had issues at quarterback since. Okay, the fact that Tarkington wanted out in '66, and we traded him. We bring in Cap, but then Cap has his issues, and Gary Quazzo's backing him up, and then Cap leaves after they go.
Quazzo got hurt too, didn't he?
Quazzo got hurt too. Quazzo got hurt. Norm Snead was just inaccurate.
Yeah.
Bob Lee was this was starting too. The backup for Kramer was Steve Dills. Mostly Dills. Yeah, player-wise, we are. We're graded really high. It's kind of like one of the destinations for free agents. I don't see it, but
yeah.
It's from what I'm hearing. So,
What up, Skull?
hey, Barber. But yeah,
yeah, it is better than the Bears.
yeah. I mean, it's well, and with the quarterback position for the Vikings, it's like, well, for within the last, I guess we'll say since Culpepper, they just haven't got it right.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are just well coached, and
they have Mahomes,
and they got Mahomes. But you also have Andy Reid is a very good coach. He kind of got a raw deal in Philly, but he's a very good coach. And I mean, Andy Reid had a hell of a team with Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Minnesota, we just
and McNabb didn't get hurt, but he sucked.
McNabb didn't get hurt. His skill level dropped off badly.
Yeah.
It dropped off badly. And that year, let's not forget, there was the player lockout. So he couldn't really work out with the team until he couldn't even sign a contract. So when training camp started, when they ratified the new deal, he signed a contract, but he just was not. He didn't have it, and they figured what's his name had wanted him in Minnesota earlier, Brad Childress, and Philadelphia would not trade him. So
yeah, I mean, fuck, even Bradford was hurt.
Yeah, Bradford got hurt too.
Their injury replacement.
Well, you know what? Bradford played that one great game on Monday night and
teased us all.
Yeah. Basically, Bradford did what JJ did.
Yeah.
Gave us that promise, and then it was yanked out from us. Quarterback is a hard position to get.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're lucky enough you get it. Sometimes you have to keep looking before you get one. I think a lot of teams put a lot of emphasis on the quarterback position. I've said this before because it is like that position without the spotlight and stuff, but we'll guarantee these guys are going to make it. And offensive coaches have got away from the old school philosophy, which is if you really want to help your quarterback, have a good running game. Teams don't run the ball anymore.
That's hard to say, T-Bass, because Andy Reid was good with McNabb.
You mean Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
You would probably have the same results.
Yeah.
Andy Reid is that good of a quarterback. He is that good of a quarterback coach.
Yeah.
He is an offense. He is an offensive guru.
Maybe what KFC's not an offensive guru?
What gives you the sense that he is?
I just listen to the national media. KOC is one of the greatest coaches ever.
Yeah, right. No, he's not even close. He's not even close. He's right up there with who? McDaniel from Miami?
That dude has a weird voice.
Well, yeah, he hasn't reached puberty yet.
This is like how you do the NFL like on Sirius, and he
Dude,
goes, "Hey, this is Mike McDaniel, head coach of the Miami Dolphins." I'm like, did they get a 12-year-old boy to do that promo?
I told you, geeks and dweebs have took over the NFL head coaching. Geeks, dweebs, and you weirdos. I mean, shit.
I would rather have Stefanski.
Yeah, we should have had Stefanski. Stefanski's the one we should have had.
Yeah.
And if you really want to be honest, Jim Harbaugh is the one we really should have had.
But because if you think about it, KOC and Zimmer kind of had the same issue, clock management.
And ego.
Yeah. So I think KOC comes across to the players nicer because he used to be one. But
he's too nice.
I think players appreciate that. But
he's too nice.
When you're the coach, it's like being a parent. You're not supposed to be their friend. Other coaches on the coaches side.
And that was the whole thing. The Vikings, when they hired KOC, they wanted basically somebody to go in there and hold the player's hand and be like, "Oh, you're nice," blah 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 blah. Yeah. Say hi to them and acknowledge them. Where you get those old school coaches are like, "I don't want to talk to you. Fuck you," you know. But
I think Mahomes would have been great. Well, that is very interesting. Is he good because of Reed?
Here's the deal: if you swap teams, I think they'd still have the same success. Yeah. Baltimore may actually win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they still have the same success because Reed and John Harbaugh are kind of that same type of coach, and both run the ball. Chiefs do run the ball.
Not as much as Baltimore, but they do run.
Not as much as Baltimore, but Baltimore gets a lot of their yards from Lamar.
Yeah.
You know. No, I haven't heard from Sarah. Hear from her Friday.
She was in what chat was she in?
Oh, did she go to Detroit chat again?
No. Was it? She was in a chat today. She seemed okay. We'll find out Friday.
Right. And that's another one too, Tomlin. But I mean, we only had Childress here a year, and Tomlin got hired right away.
Yeah.
Tomlin
did have a chance to be the head coach here, but I think just the timing mess, you know.
He didn't get. I mean, it was his first year here. He came in with Childress, and the Steelers took him right away because he had the number one defense.
Yeah.
We were 6-10, but our defense was number one.
The Steelers don't.
But he also had Roethlisberger. He had a veteran unit. So when he came in, that team didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could have had Tomlin, Stefanski. Who else am I missing? Harbaugh, of course.
Yeah.
You had a chance for Harbaugh, and because he came off, from what I understand, he came off the wrong way in the interview. He didn't even know it was an interview. And the two people that took exception to it were the ones that shot it down.
He thought he already had the job?
He thought he had the job. Yeah, he thought he had the job, but there were two people there that, not only the brother from Michigan, but there was another person too that's head of diversity and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's why we didn't get Harbaugh, and that's why we got KLC. I don't know if KLC is going to work. If KLC doesn't work and Harbaugh is successful with the Chargers, yeah, we're gonna we'll be talking about it for years.
Well, we could also have Pete Carroll.
I don't want Pete Carroll.
No, I'm saying he could have been at one time.
Yeah,
The Vikings head coach, Pete Carroll, was it
they
Buddy
picked
Ryan?
Denny.
And
They
then
picked Denny. Yeah.
they also had Buddy Ryan, right?
Yeah. Well, Buddy went to Chicago with Neil Armstrong,
Yeah,
but that was, Bud. You ain't firing Bud.
right. I'm
Um,
just saying that there's plenty of coaches. Kevin Stefanski is another one. Plenty of head coaches who were not head coaches with the Vikings, but were a positional coach who went on to other teams to become head coaches.
well, they were. The Vikings were going to lose Burns. Burns was
Yeah.
leaving after.
Well, I would too if they had hired Dust Steckel over me.
Yeah, and then they fired Steckel, but I think I I would have loved to have asked Bud or somebody that knew about that whole situation.
Tony Dungy, he was the one I was thinking of.
Dungy, yes. Bud Dungy was here with Denny, and Tony was going to get a head coaching job. I just wished it hadn't been Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But he was going to get a head coaching job. The last successful coach we had was Denny. We have had, up until Denny, we only had 5 head coaches? And since Denny, how many have we had?
Well, they've had 11 in history.
11. So we've had 6.
KOC is the 11th head coach.
We've had 6 since Denny. And none of them have lasted. How many years does Zimmer last?
Zimmer was the longest, I believe, after Green.
He had 6 years?
I think it was 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Because you got Grant, and then after Grant you got Steckel.
That was 1 year.
That was 1 year. Then Grant came back.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Burns. And then after
Burns was 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 6 years.
Yeah.
Denny was 10?
Then you got Green.
Yeah.
And then after Green, Childress.
No, after Green, you got
Oh,
Tice.
it was Tice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tice was only a couple years.
Tice was only 4 years.
Right. And then Childress was 5.
6, 7, 8, 9, and part of 10, like 4.5.
Right.
4.5.
And then it was Zimmer after. Right. It was Leslie Frazier after Brad Childress.
Mm-hmm.
He was 3 years.
Well, yeah, call him 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Because 3.5 because he finished out Childress. Yeah. And then Zimmer.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is 3
so
with
Zimmer, Green, and Grant. Those are the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if KOC makes it through this year, he'll be top 5 as well for how long? Because he'd been longer than Tice. He'd have been longer than Frazier. About the same as Childress.
They're going to get 4 years out of.
Yeah.
They're going to go with the 4-year. He signed a 4-year contract, so he's going to get a 4-year contract. Quasi's a 4-year deal too.
Right. Brian Billick could have been another guy that was the head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. But Billick, when he got to, but see, here's the funny thing: Billick as an offensive coordinator, his offense in Baltimore was not that good. He had Jamal Lewis as a running back. It was a defense. It was a defense.
Also Kyle Bowler as his quarterback.
You win a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer, it's your defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your defense.
But he was smart enough as an offensive coach not to get in the way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Which he and I think we kind of see this with KLC. KLC really doesn't know the defensive side of the ball.
Did Jordan ever have a serious injury?
Who?
Steve.
No.
So that's another reason maybe why he lasted as long as he did.
Well, he got older, and Denny didn't throw the ball to him really. He might have lost a step, but
But there is still a thing with the Vikings head coaches. I don't know if it happens to any other teams. When you're a head coach of the Vikings, you get fired. You know, other than I think Dennis Green is the only one who got another head coaching job.
yeah, Denny is the only one. Denny is
And that was quite a bit after he left Minnesota too. Was it like 6 years? Was it like 5 years between Arizona and Minnesota?
No, it was I think he got there in like he got to Arizona in 04. Yeah, he got to Arizona in 04. Yeah, he got to Arizona. He's the only, like you said, he's the only one that got a head coaching gig after he left the Vikings.
Yeah.
Well, one, Gary retired, Bud retired. Steckel was an assistant coach. No, Van Brocklin got a job after the Vikings with the Falcons. He got a job with the Falcons. So there was two. Tice never got a job. Frazier never got a job, right?
Let's see, Frazier.
He went back to D coordinator.
He went back to defensive coordinator, yeah.
And Zimmer is back to D coordinator.
But Zimmer may be the third, depending on what Dallas does.
I think he's going to be their head coach. I do. I think he's going to be their head. Ain't that a bitch, though? He's going to replace McCarthy. Of all the people.
It's like you said, they usually go from one extreme to the other. Offensive guy to a defensive guy, a laid back guy to a hard, strict guy. You know?
And they're moving on. They're moving on from Dak. You can kind of tell they're getting away from that era. Oh, God. Another name popped up, too, as far as the Vikings going after a quarterback. Trey Lance. His name popped up again.
If Darnold gets hurt, the only quarterback I want them going after would be Tannehill.
Well, he's still out there, isn't he?
Yeah. Because I think Tannehill and Darnold are about the same.
I actually trust Tannehill.
So
I trust Tannehill
but
more.
Tannehill obviously costs more. That's why the Vikings didn't sign him.
No, he's a free agent. He can't. He's in no position to.
Well, now he is, but during the offseason, he was probably asking for more.
Right now, he'll be lucky to get the veterans minimum,
right, and it won't be guaranteed.
Nope. He'll get the veterans minimum and like it. He won't. He doesn't have that. Doesn't have that clout anymore.
Yeah.
So
that would be the only guy I would see them. Because it is. We are talking about injuries, and the Vikings definitely have those. So.
I wonder if this team is cursed. I really do.
Well, there's definitely something to it. There's got to be something to it because,
I can't think of any. And not even Detroit is as cursed as us.
And they're supposedly supposed to be more cursed than anybody else.
Right.
No, you're just not good, Detroit.
Yeah.
The Vikings are cursed because they've actually been good.
Yeah.
Teddy, think about it. Christian Ponder doesn't get hurt. I know we rag on Christian Ponder, but he did have that one good year.
He played his best game against the Packers the week before. Yeah.
If he doesn't get hurt, they beat the Packers, I think. Right.
T-Bass brings up a good question. Do we hang on to coaches too long and let good ones go? That's a possibility, especially recently.
It might be just bad timing, too. The Tomlin one was definitely bad timing.
You know what? The Browns are the worst because they had their team taken away from them. And then that team moves to another city and wins the Super Bowl.
And wins the Super Bowl.
Two.
Not just one, but two. Yeah,
they won 2. You know, that right there, to me, that's where Art Modell was just a complete and total asshole.
Yeah, he was nice enough to leave the name.
No, they forced him to. They took him to court. He was taking a name, but the city of Baltimore took him to court that you have to leave the name and the record because the NFL said we're going to give you a team back. But
which the NFL should have done that with the Titans too.
Well,
they should have left the Houston Oilers name in Houston.
Bud Adams, they didn't fight with Bud Adams. Houston didn't fight with Bud Adams like Cleveland fought with Art Modell. Modell was moving because he didn't get a stadium.
Yeah.
And that's why he left. But the city, I mean, the Browns are Cleveland. And Modell he said, okay, fine. I'll move to Baltimore. I'll leave the name and everything else. They sued him. It would have been a lengthy court battle. And the NFL didn't want the negative notoriety. I think every city should do that.
When they leave the name.
If that's originally where they're from, that's like if the Vikings left here, you leave the name, you leave the records here. That team basically starts new.
Well, yeah, because Utah Jazz makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
And then they won a Stanley Cup in Dallas.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
but
like the Minnesota Twins, when they moved, they did change the name. They didn't keep the name. You know, the Vikings don't even recognize the MLB officially says that the Twins have 3 World Series, but the Twins say they only have 2.
Twins only have 2. They don't recognize the
Senators. They don't recognize the 1929 World Series.
Yeah, they don't recognize the Senators.
Yeah, which to me, because they had one of the best players ever, in Walter Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was never a Twin.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Yeah, he was never a Twin. So I mean, you know, I can understand that. But, you know, trying to figure out what is it about this team that is just so – I don't get it. I literally don't get it. And there are teams that have had a lot of bad luck.
Yeah.
Just – well, because it hits us because we're fans of the team, so naturally we're going to be like, hell, we've had how many players pass away in the last 20, 30 years? 2 players that were active players. I don't know if any other team can do that.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're going to give – this is the Wilfs. They're going to give McCarthy – he's got a 4-year deal, so he'll get that 4th year.
But I think with JJ being hurt, they kind of give him a pass this year.
But I mean, if you're KLC and you're a good coach, you got to prove you can win without him. You got to prove you can win, period.
Yeah.
So, okay, so he sucks this year. You bring him back next year, and this team still doesn't make the playoffs. You got to move on.
Injuries happen. I mean, I understand the term injuries happen, next man up, but there's a reason why starters are starters and backups are backups. Yeah, once in a while you get that backup who comes in and shocks the world and plays better than people thought. But 9 times out of 10, there's a reason why the starters are the starters.
But if he comes in and steadies the ship and you're still successful, can't bitch.
Some people are gonna be, we got to bring the starter back in. Like some people, you can't lose your position for injury.
Hey, Breezy, who do you go with if KLC gets fired? If he's still here,
Ryan
Flores. If he's still here. Flores has only got 1 year left.
And they also have, Patton?
No, you don't want Patton.
The head coach?
You don't want Petty.
The Browns. But think about it though. KOC is still better than who they could have ended up with though.
Harbaugh.
No, the other guy. The head coach, the Bears. Packers.
No, you're thinking of the guy they really wanted, the one that was so bad in Denver. The guy that was a Denver coach.
Yeah. What was
That's
his
who
name?
they really wanted.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Oh my gosh.
What was his name? The Denver. Help us in the chat. The name of the Denver coach that got fired.
Who the Vikings wanted instead of KOC.
The Vikings wanted him. The coach before Peyton.
But he went to someplace else before the Vikings had a chance to sign him.
Yeah, he went to Denver.
God, I'm gonna look it up.
I forget his name. Damn it. Hold on. I bet I got it right here. His name is
it not John Fox? It's not Vic Fangio.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett, yeah. That's who they wanted.
Hackett. Yeah, Hackett was the Vikings really wanted Hackett.
He's probably the second worst head coach in Broncos history.
Yeah, they really wanted Hackett.
What's his name is probably the worst. McDaniels.
He's just terrible wherever he goes. McDaniels, they had a chance to draft who was a quarterback they had a chance to draft and he shot it down.
What Fangio?
Fangio? No, you're.
Are you talking about Fangio? Used to be Viking personnel. I think you might be thinking of Coach.
You're thinking of Coach Fazio.
Yeah,
he was our defensive coordinator under Denny.
You talking about the Broncos could have had a quarterback?
No, the Raiders. I forget which quarterback it was, but McDaniel shot it down.
Was it like the Josh Allen class or something like that?
They could have drafted him, yeah.
Oh, Hackett? No, I don't think he was with the Vikings.
No, Hackett was never a Vikings coach.
He was
never a Viking personnel. He was a Packer.
Yeah. He went from the Packers to the Broncos.
Yep. But he was high on the Vikings list. The Wilfs loved him. The Wilfs wanted to hire him
really well.
Yeah. The Wilfs wanted to hire him.
Yeah.
And thank God we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I can only imagine,
If you think I complain about KOC now, oh my God, if Hackett was our coach,
Tony, you might even be here.
There would be a
coronavirus. Blood pressure would have went off the charts.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, he's. I don't know what he's doing now, but well, technically, I think the Broncos are still paying him.
Yeah, probably.
Because he signed a 4-year deal, I believe. But yeah, I forget the quarterback they had a chance to draft. And
what year are we talking about?
2022 or 2023? Hey, Breezy, yeah, Flores is allowed to go after a head coaching job.
Nobody wants him.
Somebody has to take the chance and hire him, and because of that lawsuit, there are some teams that will shy away, but somebody will give him a shot.
Yeah. We talk about Josh McDaniels. Are you talking about like Jalen Hurts or something like that?
It wasn't Hurts. It wasn't Fields. It might have been Fields. No, it wasn't Fields. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. Yeah, Addison's got an ankle injury, but He's going to fight the suspension, so we'll see what happens. But he's going to fight the suspension, and he never really got hired. He never really got charged with anything.
Yeah, it was a misdemeanor.
Yeah. So he never got charged with anything. So.
And because he was also in the passenger seat.
Yeah, that's why he only got a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Because he's in the passenger seat. But yeah, I mean, if anybody can figure out why this team is cursed, please tell me. If there's any way to get rid of it, please tell me. If somebody needs to perform an exorcism at US Bank Stadium, please do it.
I think people are worried about KOC not being extended along with Crazy. I think KOC may not have been extended yet because they're still paying Zimmer. They're still paying Spielman.
They're done with Zimmer and Spielman.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, they're done with them both.
I thought this was the last year.
Nope, they're done with them both.
Okay.
Only one they're still paying is Kirk.
Yeah, 28.3.
Yeah, they're still paying Kirk. That's so. I mean, it's and the Wills have kind of put it out there right now. They're not talking extension with either one yet, but I'm reading little articles in the papers here in the Twin Cities. KLC is more inclined to get a extension before Quasi.
I thought KOC signed a 3-year contract and Crazy was 4.
They're both 4. They're both 4.
Well, the Wills have a history of extending people the year before the contract.
You know what? They haven't done that much lately. They haven't done that since Kirk and Spielman, since they did it with those 3. They haven't done it. And
they had to extend JJ, I think.
Yeah, JJ was definitely. I mean, JJ was going to get it. They extended Darisaw. Yeah. So another thing too, we need to put this here. We're not going to call him the Wilfs anymore because the only one really calling his shots is Mark Wilf.
Yeah. Well, Lenny's never really been involved.
Yeah, so it's Mark Wilf and Andrew Miller calling the shots. So, the Super Bowl air balloon crash, that was at Tulane Stadium. That stadium's gone. So, that was Tulane Stadium. Later, T-Bass.
Yeah, good night, T-Bass. I did have a question from Bob.
Pure passer? Oh, God. Past or present?
We're talking all time. We're talking...
I mean, pure passer. God, that's a lot of quarterbacks.
I'm going to go with what do you mean by pure passer? Because if you're talking about running like a West Coast offense type of thing, it's Joe Montana.
Definitely Montana.
But if you're talking like throw the ball far down the field and,
if you're kind of talking like an all-around quarterback, a runner and a passer.
Yeah. But he did say you said pure passer, so just pure passer. That's the question. Is it standing in the pocket?
Dan Marino.
Is it standing in the pocket delivering the ball?
Yep. Dan Marino.
And then Dan Marino, is it running a West Coast offense? Then it's Joe Montana.
Yep.
So it's hard to say.
Not mobile. Definitely Dan Marino.
Those two, Montana and Marino.
Yeah.
Pick and choose.
Yeah, Marino. If Marino ran, either something was happening or he never ran with the ball.
Yeah. Well, because
Never.
he always was under the impression that I can get the ball there.
He also had a really quick release too. I
Yeah.
mean, that guy had one of the quickest releases in NFL history.
Yeah.
Precise, on target. And now it was a shame he never got a Super Bowl. Hell, he only played in one.
He only played in one. Well, they should have played in '85.
Yeah.
They should have played in '85, and I think they win it in '85.
Oh, they beat the Bears.
Yeah.
They
They
beat
were
the
the only team to beat the Bears that year. That 46
Yep.
defense did not match up with that offense.
No, and that was because of the quick release.
Yeah.
They couldn't get to him.
They just didn't show up in that championship game. And I remember living in Miami. They already had the shirts printed out for the Super Bowl. Like
Did
they
they?
already had the Super Bowl shirt print out. It was a Super Bowl trophy in the middle, and on one side was the Bear helmet, the other side was the Dolphins helmet. They had to throw all those out.
Oh my God.
That's why you'll see some kid in like back in the day, back in Ghana wearing that shirt.
Yeah, Breezy. That was the Bears. The only loss the Bears had in '85 was to Marino, and Marino lit them up. 3 touchdowns, I believe. But yeah, it was against that Bear defense that Marino did that. And no offense was successful against that Bear defense except Miami.
Except for Miami because of the fast release and the way that the offense was designed.
And the one who got picked on the most, Mark Clayton caught most of the passes. Who was covering him? Leslie Frazier.
Fisher was hurt, right?
Yeah, Fisher was hurt. Fisher missed that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was Leslie Frazier, Dave Dorson,
who's no longer with us.
Right. Gary Fensick. And the other corner, Frazier and...
Was Frazier a safety or a corner?
He was a corner.
Okay.
He was a corner. Okay, Breezy, this is... Which team has the greatest defense in y'all's opinion?
What are we talking about? Are we talking about single season? We talking about the greatest defense as a franchise? The greatest, players?
The greatest defense to win a Super Bowl. I'm going to go with the Steel Curtain, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The greatest defense to never win a Super Bowl is, of course, the Vikings.
The Raiders?
No.
The Ravens?
Yeah, the Ravens. Yeah, Ravens only won one. They won.
They won two. They won two, but it was a great.
Ray Lewis was the only one of that one.
Yeah.
But the Steelers, I mean, it was
the Bears defense gets a lot of credit, but that defense would not work today.
No, and also the thing that ruined that Bears team was the fact that Mike Ditka couldn't get the quarterback situation right.
Yeah.
He could not get the quarterback. As a franchise, well, I'm always impartial to the Vikings, Purple People Eaters. But the Steel Curtain's right up there with them. And Doomsday defense, Dallas Cowboys.
Fearsome Foursome.
The Fearsome Foursome.
The no-name defense was pretty good, too.
Still the only undefeated team.
Yeah. So.
Raiders were good. The Raiders had balance, though. They had a good offense and good defense, but the Raiders were also that intimidating factor that literally teams were scared to face them.
Yeah.
They were literally scared to face them. Same with the Bears. With the Giants, it was very simple. You had to shut down Lawrence Taylor if you could. Remember I said if you could.
Now, was Harry Carson good? Would he have been as good as he was without LT?
Well, hard to say.
Carl Banks was pretty good too.
Carson had been there a few years before LT.
Carl Banks was good.
Carl Banks was good.
He
had Leonard Marshall on the D line.
Burt was good.
Jim Burt. George Martin was there. Doug Martin's brother.
Yeah.
On the D line. but you also had a good defensive coach in Parcells.
Yeah.
You know, coaching has a lot to do with it.
I don't remember the corners. I know the Super Bowl they won against the Bills. Everson Walls was their best corner.
Mark Haynes was a corner.
See, the secondary doesn't get talked about because the front seven was so good.
No, and they were good at, yeah. The secondary didn't have to do a lot.
Yeah. I mean, because when you got the guys we just mentioned, Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson, Carl Banks.
Breezy, it depends on who you're talking about, but back in that era of football, there was a whole lot of football players on the white powder. A whole lot. And yeah, LT was. LT was. Matter of fact,
people drink Gatorade. He's like, I'm good. Let's go.
Him and Michael Irvin were notorious.
Yeah.
They were bad.
Well, Michael Irvin's still got to be using how much he sweats.
He still does. You can look at him on these. He's on a pregame football show and sweating like there's no tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, you did a couple lines before the camera came on.
Yeah.
You can tell it. But yeah, it was for a lot of those players, it was hell, I saw it in semi-pro. I knew guys that would do lines at halftime. Don't ask me why, but I mean,
was North Dallas 40 based off of who?
Peter Gent with the Cowboys. Okay. It was based on the Dallas Cowboys.
I watched that the other day.
Okay, Mac Davis's character, that's Don Meredith.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Don Meredith. Those linemen were Ralph Neely and John Nyland.
Yeah.
The one that was always, because Nyland used to get in the fights all the time with Alan Page.
So what year would that have been for the Cowboys?
Well, the book was written in. Gent was out of football. He wrote that book years later. They made a movie out of it in 79 or 80. So it was about the late 60s, early, because Meredith retired in 69. Okay. So it was based off of that.
I like football movies, whether they're old, whether they're new. Some of them I won't. I mean, there are some really dumb ones out there, but if it's halfway decent, I'll watch it. You know, Remember the Titans was a great football movie. It was more about football. It was a football movie that was more about football.
Yeah, and at the time it came out, the Cowboys were pissed.
Yeah,
because it shined a light. The head coach was basically Tom Landry.
Yeah,
all the stuff that went on. If you saw the movie, that was the Dallas Cowboys organization, and they took exception to it. They took big exception to it. He's the greatest linebacker, greatest defensive player. My God.
There's a lot of them.
I still got Butkus up there.
I mean, Ray Lewis.
I got Ray Lewis up there. I've got Alan Page up there, Joe Green, Deacon Jones. I got a lot of guys. He's in there.
Joey Browder always gets my vote.
Jack Lambert, Willie Lanier. I mean, and Bobby Bell. I mean, I've got LT. What LT did was,
LT is the defensive version of Moss.
Yeah. What LT did was change the defensive game. Matter of fact, it forced more teams wanted to move to a 3-4.
Yeah.
To get that outside linebacker to rush like LT. The only one I could think of that was like LT was Andre Tippett in New England. Derek Thomas. For the Vikings, they use Matt Blair, but they always say LT's the greatest player, you know, because if they're in my era, if they're about my age, we were really too young to see Dick Butkus play or Willie Lanier or any of those guys. I remember I saw him play because he played in our division. And but LT was the one on a national spotlight, and plus he played in New York, so that helped too. Deacon Jones changed the way you play defensive line.
Defense, yeah. Deacon Jones.
He
Merlin
changed
Olsen.
the way you play defensive line, and I'll tell you what.
Well, the one guy who I want to see live because I've seen videos of him play, he was nasty. You wouldn't know it because after football life. But there was a guy who played for the Lions. He was nasty, nasty, nasty.
Alex Karras.
Yes.
Yeah.
But because he had that TV show, everybody thought he was a lovable guy. No, that dude was nasty.
He got suspended for a year for gambling.
Yeah.
And then he came, but he could play.
Yeah.
He could play. He's not in the Hall of Fame either. He should be. He's gone now, but he should be in the Hall of Fame. And of course, we saw him twice a year because he was a Viking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw film on Alex Karras. He was no joke. He was no joke at all.
Yeah.
He was right up there because
I never saw him play, and we'll do this before we're getting ready to end the show. About 10 more minutes or so. Mm-hmm. I never saw him play, but my stepdad used to tell me all the time about the guy who played Hunter, Fred Dwyer.
Fred Dwyer was a beast, dude.
Yeah.
He was a beast. He got 2 safeties in one game. 2 safeties in one game for a defensive end. It was against the Packers, of course, but he
sacked the quarterback twice?
Yes, he sacked him 2 times in the end zone.
Was it Dickey or Starr? Or?
No, it was before Dickey. It was between
Starr and
Dickey. And I don't even think it was Hunter. I want to say it was Del Gaizo and Taggy. It might have been Del Gaizo. But yeah, he got 2 safeties in one game.
Yeah,
and he was
too early.
Night Train Lane was young for me. My dad talked about him. He was really good. Night Train Lane's famous thing was he was married to singer Dinah Washington.
Well, he's also the reason supposedly for the curse.
What, Night Train?
Wasn't he the one who played for the Lions?
The curse is Bobby Lane.
Bobby Lane, okay.
Yep, the curse is Bobby. Bobby. They won the championship. I think Bobby wanted more money, and he went to Pittsburgh. They traded.
Northeast. Yeah, you didn't know that he played.
Yeah, that's Hammer. Yeah.
But we all know the greatest football player to ever turn actor is Al Bundy.
Oh, for God's sakes! You know who cut him? He came in the same year as Joe Green. He got cut.
Oh yeah.
Yep. He was. What's his name? Cut him. He said he'd be better at something else, not football.
Oh really? Oh, Mango died.
Yeah. Alex Karras died like 3-4 years ago.
No, they said Mango just died.
Mongo, yeah.
Mongo just died.
Oh,
Steve McMichael. Right? Is that who you guys are talking about?
Okay. Remember, did you see Blazing Saddles? Alex Karras' nickname was Mongo.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't. Well, Mungo. Okay, Mongo. Okay.
Yeah, his name was Mongo. Mongo like candy. You know that was Mongo.
The sheriff is the sheriff is here. They could never make that movie.
If anybody gets weird about political correctness, do not
watch any Mel Brooks movie.
Watch Blazing Saddles.
Or don't watch Spaceballs.
Oh my God!
We gotta comb the desert. Y'all find anything? Nope. Y'all find anything? Nope. Y'all find nothing? They got picked. Man, we ain't found shit.
Oh my God! There were more N-bombs in Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
And now keep in mind it was done in '73.
Yeah.
But there were more N-bombs in that damn movie than I've heard in any rap record than I've heard. There was more N-bombs. It was funny. Richard Pryor helped write it. But yeah, it was. Oh my god. Yeah, if you are weirded out by political correctness and all this other crap, if you're into it, don't watch Blazing Saddles. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Don't tell me he's crazy. Oh Lord, he's crazy.
Oh my god. It was. Hey, the sheriff is a Nick Ding.
The sheriff is what? The sheriff is near.
Oh dang nabbit, the sheriff isn't.
The sheriff is a Nick Ding.
Oh god.
The best reaction is watching people on YouTube react to that movie because they're like 21, 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get so pissed off when they hear the N word. It's like, dude, it's funny. You know?
I'm like,
they say it the whole dang movie.
It's in the whole damn movie.
Mongo punched the horse.
He did. They came riding into town on a bull.
Yeah.
A Brahma bull. But that was one of the. He was in that, and then he did he did Monday Night Football, Alex Karras.
Yeah.
He did Monday Night Football.
Was it Mr. Belvedere he was in?
No, he had his own show, Webster.
Webster.
Yep.
With the he was Webster's
That was Emmanuel Lewis.
Yeah, he was Webster's dad.
And the woman Susan Clark was his wife. That's his real life wife.
Okay.
They were married in real life. He was in Porky's. Alex Karras was the sheriff in Porky's. Oh my god.
No, you need to sing like one of them songs. When I can't remember what song they sang, but the white guy's like, no, swing low.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah, that was just.
And then when they go into quicksand, they throw a rope out to save their cart. But they save the what you call it. They lead two black dudes into quicksand.
Yeah. No, you sitting there getting a tan ain't gonna do you no good, no how. That movie, I mean,
oh god,
I own it. I have it on DVD, but that was, and now it came out in the 70s.
Yeah,
and it's Mel Brooks. Now, keep in mind, Mel Brooks was Jewish.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor helped write the screenplay, but it's a classic.
Well, how to bring cops. The guy who played Willy Wonka, he was great in that movie.
Gene Wilder, yes.
Gene Wilder, yes.
Yeah,
he was awesome in that movie as well.
Yeah, Gene Wilder was in that. But yeah, I mean, and that was Alex Karras's first gig. The Norpheus, the guy on Little House on the Prairie, was Merlin Olsen.
I thought that was not Michael Landon.
Yeah, Michael Landon. That was Merlin Olsen, his buddy. Merlin Olsen went right to Little House on the Prairie when he retired.
You would not think a guy who was religious, because he was a Mormon, wasn't he? Merlin
Olsen? He went to Utah. I don't know how religious he was.
Okay, because he was nasty on the field.
Yeah. Well, put it this way. He wasn't his Mormon ways weren't gonna cut it in the locker room with Rosie Greer, Lamar Lundy, and Deacon Jones.
Mel Brooks is a legend.
Yeah, Mel Brooks is, yeah.
Just watch it. I mean, you got Blazing Saddles, you got Spaceballs, you got History of the World Part 1.
You got Young Frankenstein.
Sorry, History of the World Part 2, Young Frankenstein. Yeah. There's a lot of good movies.
And they're all...
Gene Wilder was in a lot of them, too.
They will all make you cringe as far as some shit, but it's worth watching.
It's good to be the king.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw that in the theater. I was like 15. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of the younger people will like Mel Brooks' movies, but for our generation, it's hilarious.
Well, considering that's really all we had.
Yeah.
That's really all we had. So, that's what we saw. So, but yeah, and then who else acted? Well, Carl Eller, he acted. Bubba Smith was in.
Bubba Smith was in.
Bubba Smith was in Street Police Academies.
Yeah. Jim Brown.
Jim Brown. Jim Brown was in a lot of movies. Fred Williamson.
Yeah.
In a ton of movies.
Did Carl Weathers play? He played football too, didn't he?
Carl Weathers played the Raiders.
Yeah.
He was with the Raiders. He was a star. Who am I missing? So many.
Sinbad.
He played college ball.
Yeah.
OJ, of course. Yeah, OJ. He wasn't a very good actor.
I know you need to go up, but
he just wasn't. Is that the Basset Hound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Making a rare appearance.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's
go out. So yeah, a couple more minutes, buddy.
You know what? Let's put a wrap on this one.
Well, because I think it's like 11:50. We've been on for an hour 55 minutes. So
yeah,
you know, it's a good time.
It was an otherwise sad topic, but it was better at the end, just talking about positive things.
And then Friday night, we'll talk about the Viking stuff, obviously, but Friday night is a free-for-all. So
yeah, Friday night we're covering it.
If you guys want a homework assignment and you haven't watched a Mel Brooks movie, you can watch Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, and then we can talk about it, you know, if you guys like. So, and then when No Stop comes in, we're going to talk about, he wanted to talk about the Doors.
The band?
Yeah. So we can talk about the Doors too.
I like
not one of my favorite groups, but they're good.
You know what? I like them. They're not one of my favorites.
Speaking of, real quick before we go, do you know what he is doing right now?
I hate to ask. What?
You seen the Dr. Pepper commercials?
Oh, that's him. Yeah,
he's the sheriff.
He's the sheriff in the Dr. Pepper commercials.
Yeah.
Hey, if it's a gig, if you can get it, take it.
Do you remember back when we were growing up? You would never see a movie actor do commercials or a TV series.
No, and if they did, it was beneath them.
Right, it was movies only.
Yeah.
Now they're like, hell, let's work. I'll do anything.
Oh, they'll do anything now.
Yeah, commercial.
They'll do anything. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate everybody for being here. George, Norpheus,
Breezy,
Bob, as always. You guys are always here.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah. We appreciate everybody being here, and of course, T-Bass is always here. My mom's always here. We had George. We had
Mom was here again.
Yeah. Your girl didn't show up, but that's okay.
No, she just texted me.
Oh, okay. And then we had Duncan. Lord Duncan was in here.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had for those who saw Shaq earlier, he does come on our show on Friday. Anybody who's in here, our Friday is a free for all. Anybody come on. There's no, like on this show, it's just Tony and I, and maybe we'll have a guest on sometimes. But that Friday night show, we dropped the link in the chat, and anybody can join.
Yeah, and that's a talk about anything.
That's a talk about anything.
But thank you everybody for watching us. Thank you for the support. Any suggestions? We're open.
Yep. I do check the chat. Like I said, I do have a job, so I'm not as busy. I am kind of busy, but I do check the chat. I do check it. Check in on it to see.
Yep.
For any suggestions. So make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe.
Yep.
On both of our channels, we're trying to grow this little YouTube thing. So if you guys hit the like and subscribe, we really appreciate it. And then until next week, we really appreciate you guys for showing up, and we'll see you guys Friday.
Take care, everyone.
Vikings, let's win this game. Skol, Vikings, on the winning. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown, rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N